So this is the ultimate battle of three APS-C cameras I have in my hands. I've got the old NEX 5R, which is 2012, the 2014 OG, the a6000, and the 2019 a6400 4K beast. So we'll briefly discuss the specs and then we'll compare 1080 footage in 25 frames per second and 50 frames per second. And then we'll actually put the a6400 in 4K as well, because you know, it does shoot 4K up to 30 frames per second, and it also does 1080 at 120 frames per second as well, if you're in NTSC, or 100 frames per second if you're in PAL. But I'm gonna be comparing these and see if you can see the difference. If you wanna see any more of these camera battles, just make sure you give this video a like, subscribe if that's something you're into, and comment below what your thoughts are on these type of videos. But okay, back to the video. So the NEX 5R was released in October 2012. It has a 16.1 megapixel CMOS sensor. It has no S&Q mode. It's got a 921K dot flip up screen, which has touch to focus, has 99 autofocus points, no EVF, 10 frames per second in burst mode for photography. It's able to shoot 1080p at 60 frames per second in AVC HD recording codec, and it has a 30-minute record limit. The a6000 was released in 2014. It has a 24.3 megapixel CMOS sensor. It has no S&Q mode. It has a 921K dot tilt screen, which has no touch focus functions. Has 179 autofocus points, a 1.44 million dot EVF, 11 frames per second in burst mode for photos. It's able to shoot up to 1080p at 60 frames per second, and it has a 30-minute record limit. The a6400 was released in 2019. It has a 24.2 megapixel CMOS 6K sensor. It has the Bions XR processor from the A9. It has S&Q mode and able to record from 1 frame per second all the way up to 120 frames per second. It's got a 121K dot flip up screen, which has touch to focus. It's got a 425 phase detection autofocus points, 2.3 million dot EVF, 11 frames per second burst mode in photo, the ability to record 4K at 30 frames per second and 1080 at 120 frames per second. It has no record limit in video, has custom picture profiles. It's got a 3.5mm audio jack, and the ability to record proxy files. So we're using the same lens in each scenario. So this is the 70-180 Tamron lens, f2.8. On all three of these, if I do want to make a lens change, I'll make sure that each lens or each camera will get the same lens in that same scenario. So I try and keep everything as, you know, consistent as possible.
Cause the summer went way too fast. I'm trying real hard to remember all of the good times and memories we had. And you called out crying. You said our love was worth dying for. Yeah, that's why you keep on trying. But I'm really not moved by your tears no more. Yeah, she said if I can't have you, baby, then nobody else ever will. Yeah, because you've been driving me so crazy.
Is it obvious which camera is which yet? Comment below. The next indoor test and focus test is played now, as it really shows off how good the a6400 is in these two scenarios.
We need to take it slow, girl, high key. You need to find somebody else besides me. Yeah, I understand that you like me. What a thought though. Rejection is a hard pill to swallow. If it's love, then let it be. Cause if you force it, you gon' end up with your heart broke. Yeah. I hope the rain don't come in November. Cause the summer went way too fast. I'm trying real hard to remember all of the good said our love was worth dying for. That's why she keep on trying. But I'm really not moved by your tears no more. You said your love was real, you said your love is strong. You tryna hold me tight and never let me go. You moving way too fast, we need to take it slow. Guess that's what happens when you hanging in for way too long. Girl, high key, you need to find somebody else besides me. Yeah, I understand that you like me, but I thought though, rejection is a hard pill to swallow. If it's love, then let it be. Cause if you force it, you gon' end up with your heart broke. I hope the rain don't come in November, cause the summer went way too fast. I'm trying real hard to remember all of the good times and memories we had. And she called out crying. You said our love.
So this is camera A. What do you think? This is my YouTube studio. This is what it looks like as a main camera. So this is what camera B looks like in my YouTube scenario. What do you think? And this is camera C. This is in my studio. What do you think this camera looks like as a main camera? So what we're gonna be doing is comparing these cameras. Comment below which one you think is which, and let's get into some of the testings. 1080, 4K for the a6400, and yeah, let's see what the footage looks like side by side. So, all up, were you expecting the differences between these cameras? I mean, my mind was blown when I started comparing these in the computer, and I was like, wow, that's extremely closer than I actually thought. I was displaying all this in a 4K timeline, so if I was shooting 4K on the a6400, I was up-resing these to 4K from 1080 to 4K, so I just blew them up by 200% when it came to these two in 1080. But when you compare the 1080 footage between these two cameras, I mean, wow. You could barely tell the difference. Like, it was just insane. Obviously 4K, the footage was nice and crisp on the a6400. You definitely could tell the difference between the three cameras when it came to that, but the rest is completely mind-blowing. So the differences became much more apparent, especially when we had it in the studio scenario. You could really see the weakness of the NEX 5R camera and the a6000, and you could obviously see the benefits of shooting 4K with the a6400. The sensor was just much more cleaner, and you could see so much more detail. When it came to the autofocus, once again, the a6400 has that Bion's XR processor that's in the A9, so the autofocus system is very responsive and very snappy to the subject. Whereas the a6000 was, you know, it was okay. It had its moments where it did sort of freak out and didn't catch me. And the NEX 5R was, yeah, it was just not great. It's a very, very old focusing system. Focusing has come a long way when it comes to the Sony cameras. It's incredible these days, especially when it comes to the a7S III now. It's just incredible. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, please give this video a thumbs up if you could. Comment below if you got any of these right. I would really like to know if you actually picked which one was camera A, which one was camera B, and which one was camera C. But anyway, guys, I'll see you in the next one. All right, let's get it.